A new CBSN Originals documentary explores how the yoga and wellness worlds have become a gateway for misinformation and conspiracy theories amidst the pandemic. Here's a preview.
The wellness community has long been on the forefront of the unconventional.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with liking crystals. However, crystals curing cancer, where's the science behind that?
And the unease of the pandemic created mass anxiety and a quest for answers.
Friends, colleagues, other yoga teachers were starting to jump on the bandwagon of these conspiracy theories.
A world that used to be so safe and trustable is now infiltrated with extremity.
We're for freedom of choice to choose what resonates with you.
Now, perceptions molded online are driving some in the yoga and wellness space to turn their real worlds upside down.
Think Truman Show. Basically, the algorithms can feed you with content that is based upon your own fantasy and your own desire.
Potentially at my peril.
Oh, there's no question about it.
Ramesh Srinivasan, a professor at UCLA's Department of Information Studies and author of the books Beyond the Valley, is featured in the documentary, and he joins me now from Mexico. So, Ramesh, in what way did the yoga and wellness worlds become a gateway for misinformation in the wake of the pandemic? This is fascinating.
And I'm actually speaking to you with a yoga studio right next door to me, actually, at the moment in Mexico. There's been a lot of skepticism in the wellness community that many of, sort of the health solutions that are provided by pharmaceutical companies are not really dealing with wellness, not really dealing with health, right? The recuperation of one's health. They instead treat symptoms of problems. There's also been a lot of skepticism for many years about the big pharmaceutical companies, how they're sort of monetizing the public in various ways that are unfair, using, publicly funded grants for their own gain, their own profit. So I think what has happened is those sort of very legitimate forms of skepticism have gotten amplified and radicalized largely because of the way social media function. They radicalize us to take existing doubts we may have and send us down various rabbit holes where we become completely polarized. We're experiencing the world in front of our fingertips on a screen, and that world might be completely different than someone who might be similar to you in certain ways, who might be sitting right next to you, but might be somewhat different, right? You're targeted in different ways through these algorithmic systems. So that's created a lot of polarization within this community.
And how do programs designed to curate our social media feeds play a role?
Okay, so imagine, Vlad, if I'm gathering data about you 24/7, 365. It's not just what you're posting on Twitter. It's not just some message you might send on WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, but it's just sort of subtle data. Where do you go? How often do you use something? Maybe the nature of your communications, the intensity of your communications. If I have all this data about you that I'm gathering constantly, I can make specific, targeted recommendations to you. They call it recommendations, but really it's the world they reveal to you, based not on your demographics, but your psychographics, who you are as a psychological subject, right? So I can play to your anxieties, I can play to your feelings of arousal and outrage. And the goal after all of this is one thing and one thing only, which is to keep you glued on their website or on their app the entire time, right? And the best way to keep someone's attention is to feed them with content that feeds on their existing suspicions and their existing anxieties. There are many good people who are skeptical of some of the vaccines, but they're not being presented with a sort of analytical ability to look at what different vaccines mean, right? Scientists and good physicians are being confused with pharmaceutical executives. An mRNA vaccine is being confused with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. These are completely different technologies. These are completely different forms of treatment, actually. So we're not having that subtlety, and we're really not in a digital world where we're actually talking with one another and getting together around something we can all agree around, which is trying to stop the spread of this virus and trying to stop the ways in which it's affecting all of us in such negative ways.
So should people in yoga and wellness be more concerned that they may be getting unhelpful or even harmful information? Or is this a problem that everybody's experiencing?
I think everybody is experiencing this, but I think what everybody is experiencing is a sense that the other, I'm either vax or anti-vax. Our sort of humanity has been objectified and placed in these like binary categories. But people in the yoga and wellness community, and as I mentioned, there's literally a yoga class occurring right next door to where I am right now at the moment. Their experiences, again, their anxieties about big pharma, their anxieties about the medical establishment are being preyed upon. And, you know, it's that feeling like when you have some idea or anxiety or suspicion, you yourself, Vlad, but then your entire world, not just the people that you physically connect with, which is not as, you know, substantial these days, but even your entire digital world reinforces those existing biases, then it makes you feel like that's the new normal. That's the Truman Show that you were referring to, that they're referring to in this great documentary that CBS is putting out.
You know, I wonder also what role the people who teach yoga, and I don't mean specifically teachers, but the gurus and the teachers who are responsible for particular styles of yoga, how their words can convey a lot and mean a lot to a lot of people who are practitioners of their particular style of yoga and who believe that the words and the sayings and the teachings of these exercises, not only are they good for you and good for your spirit, but anything else that these teachers and gurus say is also going to be accurate and true and good for you.
I mean, as a man of Indian descent, I know quite a bit about gurus and how yoga teachers can become guru-like figures, where it's really about cult of personality. And there's no question that we've seen some, I would say, abuse occur in the spiritual and wellness community in various ways, where it becomes more about oneself and one's own doctrine and one's own popularity than actually people's health, right? So we're at an extraordinary moment right now where we know unbiased scientists who are not being paid off by big pharmaceutical companies are showing us again and again and again that getting the vaccine can mitigate not only the severity, but the spread and mutation of this virus. So the key is we have to figure out ways to interact with folks in this community, you know, a community that I have been part of in various ways, that I have friends that are part of, and understand that we can all agree on trying to stop this virus any way we can. And we need to understand what a vaccine signifies accordingly, right? Breath work is great. Vitamin D is great, right? But a vaccine is essential in mitigating the spread of the virus. That is my honest belief. And I think the more we can appeal to people in that community, the better. The problem is our digital environments block us from having that kind of communication. And that's a business model. That's a toxic business model that has made these companies the wealthiest companies in the history of the world.
Yeah, and Professor, it's not just within yoga. I mean, you know, if my mother heard me as a kid one more time say, "Sensei says," that, you know, that was my martial arts instructor. You know, but then it was, of course, you know, don't eat any potato chips and soda, and you know, be nice to your parents. It had very little to do with medical guidance or science. But you just said something that was really interesting in the documentary. You talk about how social media platforms can not only mold your perceptions but also your behavior and your reality. Talk about how that works and why it's potentially harmful.
It's sort of what we would call a recursive effect, right? So if I gather all this data about you, I can stitch an invasive portrait into your identity, Vlad, that you may not even be consciously aware of. I'm not saying that's who you truly are, but it's my assessment of you. And this is all being used by gathering tons of data upon you and using correlation, right? So there's billions and billions of people now who are being part of this data tracking machine. And so using what we call correlation, we can actually make decisions around what to feed you to actually influence your own behavior, right? So you actually become partly your identity partly changes as a function of this world that's presented to you, which is actually, I think, incredibly disgraceful and unethical of these companies, right? It's one thing to feed people, advertisements for the soap that you've been dreaming of having that they're somehow able to glean through data they're collecting about you. But it's another thing to actually kind of invade your existing senses of anxiety, if not paranoia, and take you down these rabbit holes, right? You get more and more radicalized, more and more hardcore. That's what I tell my students when you really are engaging with these platforms. So what we're actually talking about, we even use the term data body. We're gathering all this data about you, and we're using that to reconstitute your identity. Not we, but that's what these technology companies are doing. And they are admitting that they're doing it. The issue is they're not doing anything about it. And that's a huge part of my own goal, like my own work in my writing and in my advocacy with people in Congress. We need to rein this in. Otherwise, you can imagine at scale, 380 million Americans all living completely different realities. And then when you talk about this on a global level, it's just insane, right? We're all living different realities, and those realities are getting more and more extreme because that's what will keep our attention.
Ramesh Srinivasan, really, really interesting. Thank you very much for spending some time with us.
Oh, I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Professor. You can download the free CBS News app to check out Conspirituality anytime, anywhere. We're also streaming it on Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on CBSN.